Justice now.
Obstruction
Justice
to
now.
justice. Obstruction to justice. Obstruction to justice. Justice now. Well, hello, and welcome to another broadcast of Obstruction to Justice. I'm Ann Moles, and here on Obstruction to Justice, we just get a chance to talk about whatever we'd like to talk about. But of course, our favorite subjects, my favorite subjects, I like to talk about political situations, political news, hmm, local news and events. Yeah. So we get a chance to share about that and business, my favorite business. And today we're going to just chat a little bit about some couple of the bills that have been proposed, congressional bills that have been proposed, and we've had a chance to share some of those before, and yeah, they are pretty interesting in that it helps us to kind of stay abreast, to stay up on what's going on in the news. If we get a chance to focus on what's happening, then we don't get caught surprised. Mm. So that's another reason why we like to share and talk a little bit about the new bills and legislation that comes out of the government. So we'll chat about that. Uh, I was really Windows 11 is out. Blessings to you, Dr. Anthony Clark. Blessings to you too. So, yeah, big shout out to Dr. Anthony Clark and all of you Facebookers and YouTubers and Twitchites and, everybody that's hanging out there and checking us out. Big blessings to you as well. So, yeah, the the bills in the United States Congress, there's Windows 11. There's the Windows 11 upgrade that has released. So it, I believe it released on the 4th. So October 4th. A lot has been going on in the news here locally in the greater Kansas City area. We have had unprecedented. I don't know what in the world is going on out there. It seems like just someone is just out there just ravaging the communities and gun shootings. And we have had a mirage of gun shootings here in the greater Kansas City, Missouri area. It seems to have started Saturday, uh, October the 2nd. And young people, they lost their lives during that time. And then Sunday and Monday, and maybe even before then. So, just want to send the prayers and support out to the different families that have lost their loved ones and are currently in bereavement. And I wanted to kind of focus our minds on something. It's been very challenging for me. I know that. And just wanted, there's so much to talk about. There's so much to share. And if we can stay focused on the plan of enlightening ourselves in enriching our knowledge base and keeping our skills sharp personally, that's something that I do to keep my skills sharp, to stay focused on what it is that I do, so can continue to be steadfast in, of course, my spiritual beliefs and my relationship with God the Father, but also the things that He's called us to do and the gifts that we have. So, one of the gifts that I enjoy and I get a chance to use every day is working with technology. So, we're going to talk about some free graphic software that is probably already on your computer. If you're using a PC, then you're probably already familiar with it, and maybe using it, or maybe you're not familiar with it, but it's there and it's free. So it's already loaded. And these are pieces of software that will also be included, or the versions will be included in Windows 11, the Windows 11 upgrade. So it's not just for the Windows 10 users. I actually use two of them. I've used them for years. Windows 10 has been out for, oh shoot, what, since 2015? So it's been out for a while. And even with Windows 10, even before Windows 8, I have one of my primary machines is still using Windows 8. And if you take care of them and make sure they get their updates, and uh, keep good software, security software on them where they don't get viruses, of course, they're going to last you through. So this is, it's been a pretty good machine. I'm not uh, PCs are PCs, but this has been it's an HP, so it's a laptop, and this PC has been really pretty handy. I still use it and I enjoy it a lot. It was a good PC, pretty much top of the line before. When I first purchased it, I didn't have to pay a whole lot for it. That's one of the reasons I'm pretty frugal, guys. So if you're gonna be in business, if you're going to work and hang out and do anything in business, you want to hold on to your cash. Keep your grip as close as you can to you because things do happen and you're going to have to pull things out. But I don't believe in spending a whole lot on anything. And one of the things, technology, it doesn't cost, it doesn't take a whole lot. It just takes knowing what it is, the tools that it is that you're wanting to use, and see if there's a free version. Now, not don't just load up your computer with free versions of anything, because there's nothing is really free. But I think that if a application has a good reputation where it plays along with the different systems, it's been proven, and you have a lot of good reports with the software, then by all means. So I'm a free advocate. And there's a couple of graphic pieces of software that I want to share with you too. But let's just get started. Let's get started. And I want to share let's talk about the um, the bills. So let's chat about that. I'll go ahead. Let's share this first screen. I'll take a look here. And this bill here, it is this one here is the S2919. It's a bill to designate Indigenous Peoples Day as a legal public holiday and replace the term Columbus Day with the term Indigenous Peoples Day. Yeah. So that is what this is. Okay. Now, this bill here, I found it interesting. There's a senior senator for New Mexico. He's a Democrat, Martin Heinrich, and he introduced this bill September the 30th. So, as we know, a bill gets introduced, bills and resolutions are referred to committees, which debate the bill before possibly sending it on to the whole chamber. So, right now, it's just been introduced. Nothing has been voted on or referred to committee at this point. But of course, a bill must be passed by both the House and the Senate in identical form and then be signed by the president to become law. So this was just an introduction. And what, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? Should we change the term Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day? Hmm. I'm not sure. I think that it would be great. We know that what do the history books say about Christopher Columbus discovering America? And of course, there were people already here when he got here. So how do you discover uh, land where there are already people that live on the land, have developed the land? If it wasn't for the people, the indigenous people, people that were already here, a lot of the settlers and newcomers to the land, they just would not have made it. And we have a holiday coming up for all of you international watchers called Thanksgiving. And that's kind of the theme that Thanksgiving has been, in that it's a time where the settlers, this is the story, came together with the indigenous people, and they brought together their food, and they celebrated a day of Thanksgiving for by sharing with the indigenous people, people who were new to the land and people that were already here. So I don't know. I think that it would be a good idea. Yeah, I think it would be a good idea because it will help redirect what what really happened. Columbus Day. Well, what happens to Columbus? I think his statue got pulled down or vandalized during the unrest, and people being frustrated with what was going on after the murder of George Floyd and others. It wasn't just George Floyd. I think that people need to understand that. But, back to the subject. Christopher Columbus, he did not discover America. There were people already here. And if you want to correct something, I think since we're in the spirit of correcting things and making things right, okay. Uh, yes, Indigenous Peoples Day. You can change that day from Christopher Columbus Day, and it would be a legal public holiday, and replace the term Columbus Day with the term Indigenous Peoples Day. Okay, so let me know what you think. You can always drop a line in the chat and let me know what you think. Now, let me see what else we got here. So, Indigenous Peoples Day is a yes for me. There is Now, we know we've had some discussion, the Facebook and the whistleblowing person, that's what they call a person that is bold to come out and speak out against an injustice, mm, something that's not right. And there was a lady that came out and spoke out against the the oh, let me see here. Which one are we going to use? It spoke out against the social media, Facebook. Yeah, Facebook has been pretty good. Mhm. But I think that what they've shown, and the research and information has shown, that Facebook, and not just Facebook, but things can be pretty addictive. And it's not good for young people because, they're developing socially. Yeah, media, they're developing socially. Well, this bill S 2917 is a bill to establish a federal tort against social media companies that cause bodily injury to children or harm the mental health of children. So this would give the put in a law to where you could actually sue the company. Mm, oh boy, there we go, huh? And that's something to think about. You know, that's I think that if you have scientific research, what do you do if you're in business to provide a social platform for people? And that young people have been a part of it, and here they are not mature. They are looking for affirmation, and they're looking for so many things and looking to learn. So from their friends or what they see, and it can cause some real mental hangups, like a lot of other things. TV does the same thing. If you watch too much TV, well, what's interesting about this is Josh Holloway, Hawley rather, Josh Hawley, Hawley. He's a junior senator for Missouri, and he's a Republican. He introduced this bill September the 30th, and it has just been introduced. Of course, that's where it goes, the introduction before it gets passed on to committees, and they'll debate whether or not it's a good idea to send it to the whole chamber for a vote. Okay, so that is something interesting, and I think that what they're what they're looking to do is hold businesses, social media. They're trying to come up with something to hold social media accountable. Yeah, I think that uh, it's interesting. I'm not sure if if really the management and monitoring of what your child does, and it really comes from parenting. That's kind of how I think about it. But here it gives there puts in laws in place where you can actually sue the company. Well, that's something to think about. It would be the first something like it, and then it would be based and be held as a standard for other companies. So, all right. Now, this next one is something that I think we've been familiar with, and it's been around for a long time. A long time. I'm going to share this one. This next uh this next bill here, the H 1693 Equal Act of 2021. Okay. Now, this overview, let's just look at the overview, because this overview here, and we're out here again on govtrack.us. There are other platforms besides govtrack.us, but it's pretty laid out nicely. It's laid out to where you can pretty much understand what's going on, and they get their information directly from the federal government website, congress.gov. So, but this kind of lays it out to where you can find things, and it just kind of starts making sense a little bit. Now, the ratio was 100 to 1 starting in 1986, then 18 to 1 starting in 2010. Should it be 1 to 1 now? Okay, let's do this here. Cocaine, the context of what this is all about is cocaine is federally classified as a Schedule II drug, the category with the second highest potential for de- for dependence and abuse, alongside the likes of Vicodin, Adderall, and meth. The Anti Drug Abuse Act of 1986 created a 100 to 1 ratio for sentencing people who were caught with crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. According to the U.S. National Library of Medicine, Black people were more likely to use crack cocaine, so the law had a disproportionate effect on non whites. The law was partially crafted and advocated by then Senator Joe Biden, though he has subsequently walked back his support. He states, this is in quotes, "We were told by the experts that crack, you never go back, that the two were somehow fundamentally different. It's not," unquote. And Biden said this in 2019, quote, but it's trapped an entire generation. So he has acknowledged that crack epidemic. I don't know, for some, if you guys are watching, of course, in 1990, we were still in the grips of it. It was horrible. So the 80s, the Anti-Drug Act of 1986, and the 80s, the 90s, crack epidemic. Okay, the Fair Sentencing Act of 2010 reduced the crack to powder sentencing disparity from 100 to 1 to 18 to 1. Now, what the legislation does, the equal is an acronym that stands for eliminating a quantifiably unjust application of the law act, but would eliminate the sentencing disparity between crack and powder entirely. The Senate version was introduced on July 28th as S79 by Senator Cory Booker, a Democrat in New Jersey. The House version was introduced a month and a half later on March the 9th as H.R. 1693 by Representative Hakeem Jeffries. He's a Democrat of New York. Now, the supporters, this is the part that I want to read, and then we're just going to go on from there. I think anything that makes it better, I'm already going to tell you, anything that makes it better, um, to where it brings just laws and it helps in that way because of the law. If you're breaking the law, then there has to be some justice there, but not such a huge disparity to where it crushes people to where they just can't recover. And I think, well, anyway, let's just go ahead and look at this. The supporters of this bill says, okay, supporters argue that since the two types of cocaine are essentially the same except for texture, the sentencing requirements should not divulge so greatly or at all. There is no justification for treating powder cocaine differently than crack cocaine offenses, Representative Jeffries said in a press release. There's no pharma, pharmacological difference, no chemical difference, and no physical difference between how the body processes crack cocaine and powder cocaine. Crack cocaine has historically been used in inner city communities and powder cocaine in affluent neighborhoods and the suburbs. Put simply, the dividing line is race and geography, Representative Jeffries continued. That does not justify the wide disparity in sentencing. So, a drug the same, it's cocaine, whether it's crack form or powder form, it has the same effect. I think, I don't know. I just remember maybe back and thinking about it, that the cocaine up at that crack cocaine, it was maybe cheaper to get than the powder cocaine, but it was still a drug. And the disparity to me, 100 to 1 is just ridiculous. Okay, what opponents say. Now, this is what people who are opposed to this legislation is saying. Opponents counter that the disparity was instituted for a reason, that the effects of crack versus powder cocaine are quite different in practice in a way that arguably makes the sentencing actually a blessing in disguise for the Black community. The statistics are quite clear concerning the effects of crack cocaine and crime generally on predominantly Black communities. Kristen M. Stevens wrote in a 1997 Missouri Law Review article. For example, in 1994, 74% of the emergency room admissions for crack-related problems involved Blacks. Furthermore, Blacks compose 69% of admissions for treatment for crack abuse, whereas whites account for only 24%. In light of such figures, Stevens asked, why are not increased sentences for crack looked upon as a benevolent measure designed to protect Black communities from those who would distribute crack to the poor and the children of the community? Okay, well, that's his question. Everybody's got a way of thinking about it. Um, but it was in the Black community and it was cheaper. It was a drug that was a quick hit, I believe. And, it strung out a lot of people. Strung out a lot of people. And 24% of a population that were whites were a part of that as well. I think that if you had money, you had the powder, and it was still the stimulating effect of doing the drug. But the disparity, we talk about the unfair laws and incarceration and the black tax itself, the cost of being black in America. You're going to if you're going to lock them up, okay, then what are you going to do as far as there should be a future to it? So anyway, there should be a future to get better, to do better. And there is a report now. There's a 2015 report to the Congress, and it's the impact on the Fair Sentencing Act of 2010. So remember, the Fair Sentencing Act of 2010, enacted in August of 2010, it reduced the statutory penalties for crack cocaine offenses to produce a 18-to-1 crack to powder drug quantity ratio. So what it was is, you were looking at a 10-year sentence for having a small amount of crack, as opposed to you could have a whole suitcase full of powder cocaine and not get that, in order to get that much time, you'd have to have a whole suitcase. So a small amount of crack, you get 10 years. A whole suitcase of powder, you get 10 years. But the drug is a drug, and it had the same effects, but it just depended on who was using it. And it's out there. So I would check that out. Those that are interested in following along with what's going on with this HR 1693, the Equal Act of 2021. And they're looking at bringing that instead of 18-to-1, right? So now they're just wanting to 1-to-1. Whether it won't matter whether it's crack or whether it's powder, you're going to get the same amount of time. Yeah. So this is how people think. The opposers, the opponents to this this HR 1693. How dare them? How dare them? You know. But that's how people think. That's how some people think, and that's what we do. We come together, we talk about it, we listen, and we get a chance to defend ourselves in sharing what we believe is true and gain agreement and come up with something that's going to work. And thank goodness for people that are in the legislature that will take a look at hard issues and kind of allow for the legislature and the law to fight for what's right. Yeah, so I think it's a good idea. It's a good idea. There's also text information in here, but mainly it's what we just kind of went over. There's a summary of the bill. It talks about the co-sponsors, and there's a list of sponsors and co-sponsors of the bill. Pretty long list. And let's see. It's been introduced. It was introduced in March 2021, and it's been the ordered reported. So committee has voted to issue a report to the full chamber recommending that the bill be considered further. Only about 1 in 4 bills are reported out of committee. Okay, so that's just to keep it in mind. So now The House indicated that the bill would be considered in the week ahead. So that was in on September 24th, 2021. And an updated bill text was published on that same day, and it was reported by House Committee on the Judiciary. A committee issued a report on the bill, which often provides a helpful explanatory background on the issue addressed by the bill and the bill's intentions. So, gave a report, and on September 28th, it passed the House, and now it's up in the Senate. The Senate is to vote on it. So 1 to 1, whether a person has crack or whether a person has powder, it would be the same type of justice issued to both, or to a sentencing. It won't have a disparity of huge disparity of that. The drug is the drug. So I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good bill. So let me know what you think. Yeah, let me know what you think. Um, Now, let's go ahead and I'm going to dive into a couple of applications that I use. I use these applications, I would say, if not every day, because I go quite a few days a week. How many days in a week do we have? 7. So I go uh, quite a bit, and of the 7 days a week, I know I use it at least 4 days. That's at least 4 days a week. So let's go ahead. I'll start out with, let's see. Let's take a look at let's take a look at the paint. Well, I'm going to have to bring that up here. So I'll open up Microsoft Paint, and let's see how far we can get here. Now, Microsoft Paint is an application. It's a graphic application. I'll go ahead and share my screen, and I'll talk through this as much as I can here. Okay. Microsoft Paint is an application tool where you can do editing, you can do graphics, you can make just about whatever you like when it comes to graphics. What I usually do with it, I do a lot of editing. I edit images. So I use it as an image editor. If I need some text, uh, say for instance text that's text, something different, it has a great text tool within it, so I can click on that, and I'll click within the board here, and I can choose what type of text I'd like to have featured in the size of the text. So if you look within the options for text, you'll see I like using some of the basic. Now you'll see some articulate, and this it's not going to be universal across all of the applications that you may use. So I kind of stick with the basic text. I'll use maybe an Arial rounded bold text font. If I want to get jazzy, I can use a Blade Runner movie font here. It's just something different. This is uh, one of my favorites here. Broadway's good. It has the script font in it. So you can actually change the font and change the size of the font. And this is a feature too in font and editing. Microsoft Word, uh, the Google Docs, the document version of Google Docs. This is just something standard that you would do, that you could use it for. So, well, what could we talk about here? Let's just say, let's say Windows 11. Windows 11. So I made that font pretty big, and you'll just grab the handle and stretch it out. The usual. But, you can get creative as you like. So once you have it, say for instance, you want to copy this, there's a great tool that will copy any image. Okay, anything that you have, it'll copy the image on your desktop, and that's called the snipping tool. Now, you would simply go down into the bottom of do your search bar if you don't already have it pinned in your taskbar, and you would just do a search for snipping, Snipping. Now I have it pinned to my taskbar. It's called the snipping tool. And of course, it brings up, let's see if I can actually see it. Okay, so it's not showing here, but let me see if we can change it, change our view. So I'll need to stop sharing here. The snipping tool is so cool in that it turns into a tool that will actually draw around whatever it is that you're wanting to capture and take it a picture of. So here's the snipping tool here. Now this is a big blown up version of it. That's kind of the only way I can show it. But within the snipping tool, what you'll do is you'll click on new, and it turns into sort of a haze or a halo, and there's a pointy cross, actually a thin cross that will come over the whole image of what you're looking at, your whole desktop or the application or whatever, and you can actually click to draw. You can click to draw, and it will capture that image. Okay, so let me stop showing that, and I'm going to go back to my paint tool. Okay, so let's go back to paint, and here we are with Windows 11. Now I'm going to use my snipping tool. So it's up. I'm going to click on new, and then there's a haze there and my pointy cross there, and I'm just going to draw around the Windows 11, and it'll just capture it. Okay, it'll just capture it. And now it's going to be a part of what I'm seeing here in my snipping tool. So it's in the snipping tool now. And let me just show. Okay, so it's in the snipping tool now. And from here, I can click on this copy icon, and I can paste it wherever I like. So I can paste it. It becomes a PNG file. It becomes that's a picture file. So it captures a picture file. It becomes a picture file. Now instead of text, this is actually an image. So I can click copy. Notice how when you hover over this icon here, it gives you pointers of what it is. I can create or develop a new snip, right? Draw and create a new snip. I can keep this the way it is, and maybe I just want to just use it to draw, or maybe I want to do some highlighting. So I can click on the highlighter. I can highlight this. Whatever. It becomes a canvas to draw, to paint, like Microsoft Paint. It has some of the functionalities, some of the tools that you can use, and the highlighter tool. Now, from here, I can just click copy, and then maybe I'll go back to my paint, and let's go back over here. I'll go back to my Microsoft Paint, and we're going to paste it. So you click paste. Now here I can drag it. I can drag it down, and now I have two images. Two images. So it's an image editor that's free. Microsoft Paint is an image editor. The snipping tool is an image editor. It just doesn't have as many functionality features as your Microsoft Paint, and they're already installed on your PC, your Windows PC. Yeah, so you have the Windows 10, Windows 8, it's already there, Windows 10 is already there, and Windows 11 is going to have it as well. Yeah, it'll have it, but it's going to be a little bit different. So while we're at it, let's just go ahead and dive into Windows 11. I want to show a little bit about what's going on with Windows 11. Now, when you're looking at software upgrades, we've been through this before from Windows 7 or Windows 8 to Windows 10. I know a lot of people didn't even get or work with Windows 8, but they went from maybe 7 to 10, and there's an upgrade process there. That's not, it wasn't a big headache, but when you're dealing with upgrades on your computer or working with a computer, period, it's always a good idea to back up your data. Mm, Back up your data, back up your files. I have, this is actually 64 gigabytes on this thumb drive. I have 4 terabyte drive that I do some backups on. Now, these are external external thumb drives, external drives where I can put my data on it, but you can deal with an internal one. So, say for instance, you have a desktop, and if you'd like, you can put in another internal drive in your desktop, and then from there, you can work with your operating system on your main drive, your C drive, and then save and back up your data and your files to another drive. Now, I like external drives. I have an internal drive. It's just easy to work with. It's your choice. I have another little drive that I work with. So the drives and the backup are super important. So when you get to that point of if your computer crashes and you can't roll it back, there's a feature that will allow for you to roll back and recover what's going on with your computer. So if you can't roll it back, something happens and it just crashes, it's gone, at least you don't lose your information, your files, your important files. So that would be my first suggestion is always keep your good backup log of what you're using. Um, some people work off of an external drive or their backup drive as their primary drive, but just keep it to where you can have it if something happens to your computer. And then when it comes to your upgrades, so Windows 11, there's a process to where it will determine it will give you a software app that will determine whether or not your computer is upgradable to where it will handle Windows 11. So it'll do a diagnostic, and then from there it will help, they'll run it. Now right now, from what I understand, they're running Windows 11. They're putting it on newer machines, and then, of course, once they work out the bugs and all of what's going on, I don't mind. I like my Windows 10, and I like for them to. I like to use my current version and let them work out what's going on with that particular piece of software before I grab it. I don't want to be the guinea pig girl or the guy that I'm not one to where I always have to have the newest and latest and greatest. I just need something that works. So I don't want to have to roll back anything or lose data. Let them work out what they're going to work out. But then from there, they should be, and this is what I'm hearing, is that they're going to be providing a a free upgrade. so you won't have to pay for it. And that's the same thing that they did with Windows 10. There was an opportunity window there to where you just could upgrade it from your previous version, upgrade it for free at no cost. And quite a few companies um, got hold to that and were able to do the upgrades for free. And I did that too on probably one or two of the computers at the time. But I kept my Windows 8 because some people, when you're teaching or training, I just like to have different versions to kind of help me see what they're saying. And right now, that's pretty much standard in how the operating system works and how to troubleshoot. So I like to have a different version of where, since it's still being supported, Windows 8. If I need to help someone troubleshoot, I have a Windows 8 machine. I can help them walk through it. So that's why I keep my older versions too. Okay, let's just go ahead and check out what's going on with Windows 11. Let's see what's happening. It's just a bunch of pretty windows and icons floating around. And this new desktop looks good. Yeah, the new desktop looks good. It's kind of like a ribbon. So you get a chance to see all of the features and some of the features and how it just kind of looks like a commercial. And I'm kind of narrating this. This is for our podcasters. But if you go out there on the YouTube channels, there's some people that have already done some reviews and you'll get a better idea of what it looks like. Still kind of a tablet feel, working in a tablet feel, and it's supposed to support Android applications as well. So not just PC applications. There's a difference. You can't load PC applications on an Android, but this is supposed to also support Android applications. That's your mobile phone apps. Yeah, see, with Android apps. Yeah, and there's a way where right now you can even link your computer mobile to where you can see your screen within your PC and show it. Well, I do that from time to time. Okay, well, it's been a while. It's been a while since Microsoft has provided a new version of the operating system. So, okay, we'll take it. Anything that's going to make it better. Windows 7 hung around for a long time, didn't it? And I think Windows 8 did. No, didn't do as long. And of course, Windows 10. So they're doing an upgrade there. Now, the tools that I shared with you, the snipping tool, there's going to be a look there. Let me just kind of show you. I have a screenshot of what this new snipping tool is going to look like. And it looks sleek. It looks cool. Let's see here. That snipping tool. Let's pick this one, choose this one. Yeah, Windows 11. It has both the classic snipping tool and Snip and Sketch apps. Now they've been replaced by a new snipping tool app that represents the best experience of both apps in the next evolution of screen capture for Windows. That's what they're saying. And it looks okay. I'm hoping that I'll be able to take and make my copy button available without having to do too many clicks. Because you notice, like the current snipping tool, there's a copy button there, and here on this new snipping tool view, there's some drop downs. So I'm hoping I can customize my ribbon. That's the area within your application where you can choose your features and options. I'm hoping I can customize the ribbon to where it'll have those just available. I don't have to guess or memorize or learn where they are within these drop downs. That's always a headache. If I can open it up and see it, I can just grab it because, I work in quite a few different applications. I know you guys know how that is too. Always working in a different app. And, after a while, you get to learn where things are and it becomes second nature. But it really would be a good idea if they had that to where you could just grab your copy like we did in our other snipping tool. Okay. And so let's take a look at, and we're almost done here. Let's take a look at the paint, how it's redesigned for Windows 11, and I'll share that. It pretty much looks the same to me. They say that it's redesigned. But let's see, Microsoft's new paint redesigned for Windows 11. Excuse me, it includes a dark mode. Okay, now paint has always been kind of geeky the way that you see it. Uh, I like the way that the icons, they look a little smaller, maybe a little sleeker compared to the bulky look that we now have. The bar up there, the the ribbon doesn't look as cool as the new version. It has little dots representing the color scheme or the colors that you could choose. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. It looks modern, a little more modern. The icons look more modern. That's kind of one of the things that developers like to do when they're doing upgrades. And people tend to gravitate to apps that they'll complain if the icon or the app looks a little old timey. But to me, I just need it to work. I don't really care what it looks like. The little icons and the GUI. I just want to be able to find what's going on and I want it to work. I don't want it to crash. I know that's kind of frustrating, isn't it? When it just crashes. So I wanted to play along with my other applications. That's what's important to me. And I think these free apps, it's also going to be a part of Windows 11, this paint. So it's still going to be free. It looks good, and so you could look forward to using that if you purchase a new Windows 11 computer. The Surface, I don't have a Surface yet. I like my laptops are what's going on, but my Surface Pro, all of those would have the Windows 11 on it, and it'll be featured in that as well. I do want to share one other app with you guys, and I use this app in my training. I use a lot of it in my training because what it does is it gives me it gives me sort of a way to bring in it's whiteboard. So Microsoft Whiteboard is also currently a free option on your PC. So let me go grab that and show you that right quick. Yeah, Microsoft Whiteboard. Let's see here. Yeah. So this app is already a part of your Windows 10, and it's going to be a part of Windows 11 as well. But it's going to be called something a little different. It's going to be called uh, Ink Workspace Panel. Okay, so with that, it'll just be a little different on that. Let me look at one other little thing here, and I'll just show you a little bit. We'll kind of cruise around in it, a couple of clicks, and take a look at it. So with it, you see the pens, the different colors. But here's what I like most about this, and this is for you trainers or presenters that just you want to be able to collaborate. Now, I use this out of Microsoft within Microsoft Teams as well. So they can collaborate and draw, mark it up. It's a pretty cool tool to do that. But one of my favorite file types is a PDF. I like this hideaway menu. You just click on the plus sign and it has a menu here. And from there, you can bring in documents, a PDF document into this whiteboard, slide out of a PowerPoint. You can choose a slide out of a PowerPoint, a Word document. Let's look at a PDF. I'm just going to grab something. Here's an old one. So here are the PDF pages. Let's see if I'm seeing that. You guys, yep, you guys are seeing it as well. So here are the pages, all of the pages in this PDF. So I can actually click on a page and then click insert selected or insert all of the pages. We just want to go through the whole PDF and look at it and mark it up. Just edit this. That sounds great. No, we need to change that, mark it up. So here you can actually see this particular page. And then you have your different pen colors at the bottom. So you can choose whatever pen color. Now I have a tablet. Whoops. Let's see. I have a tablet that I use. I train with this tablet. And what it does is it gives me an opportunity to just draw on it. So I can write on it. Say, for instance, if we wanted to change this title, I can cross it out or I can check this. Just you can mark it up. You can go back, undo. There's an eraser. It's just a great tool that's also free if you have a PC. Yes, Sister Ann is frugal. Ann Moles is frugal. I do not like spending. If I already have it, then why go out and spend money on it? And they're good tools to where if you learn how to use them, they will do you well. They'll do you well. I hope it's been helpful today. I just wanted something a little lighter. A lot's been going on. You know, keep the families that have been experiencing tragic situations, the death and losing loved ones, and those that are fighting for their lives in prayer, and pray that the Lord will reach and show justice to where these people who are doing these acts of violence and will be caught, that justice will prevail. And just a lot is going on. But just know that we just keep moving, and we're praying for folks too. If you need any type of training your team, whatever type of training it is, applications training, I don't care what application you're working on, we can get you trained. If you need content development, uh, that's to develop the training materials, we do that too. Go ahead and feel free to contact us at www.asbnc.com. ASBNC.com. And we will get back with you. You can select that contact us and get right on the calendar. We'll call you back and get something set up for you and discuss your training needs. And I'm Ann Moles, and I certainly had a good time today sharing with you. I hope it was helpful to you, and just stay safe, and stay prayerful. And as I always say, if the Lord says the same, we'll see you next time. Justice now.